My friends know.
Giving it to you straight with no filter. Danny B wins.
What's going on out there, my friends? Welcome to another edition of Keeping It Real. It's Friday, and we're ready to rock and roll.
That's right.
Andy, I don't know about you, but I am banged up from last night.
Oh, let me tell you, same thing with me, bro. I got my arm cranked to freaking
MMA
Kingdom
shit.
Come. Jesus, I got put in a bicep crush.
Uh-huh.
And
a bicep crush now.
Yeah, I've never felt pain like this. It's almost as if what little
get
muscle
married.
I have.
Well, you are married. I was going to say, you know, if you want to feel pain, get married.
But my bicep is like
torn.
It feels content.
You need to put some weight on those son of a guns. That's what you need to do.
I gotta hit that gym, but
gotta bulk up.
I'm still having a great time.
Yeah.
And you know what? I actually want to throw this out there real quick. Next Sunday, for all the 10th Planet heads out there and a couple of Death Squad fans.
Death Squad rules.
Yes, Death Squad rules. Those are the savages that are coming
They
out
are.
to Joey shows. We're happy to have them listening to the podcast. We are going to have 10th Planet brown belt Ryan Fortin putting on a seminar at Finishers MMA / 10th Planet off of William Penn Highway in Bethlehem. Now, for the people who are listening who are not familiar, just go to 10thplanetbjj.com. You'll be able to look up the affiliate, which is 10th Planet Bethlehem now. It used to be 10th Planet Allentown, right? And you could always just check it out on Twitter and all of that. But, yeah, last night I got my arm crushed. That sucked. But you know what? It's my fault because you got to learn to tap. Jiu-jitsu is a humbling thing. You know, you want to have a lot of pride. You don't want to tap. You don't want to give something.
You don't want to sound like a pussy. You don't want to be a pussy.
Exactly.
Out there. That's the bottom line.
But the great thing about it is everybody gets up, they shake hands. Everybody's friends
how
at the end of it.
How gentlemanlike.
Yes,
yeah.
very gentlemanlike.
No, I'm talking about. I didn't get banged up. I got beat up with the liquor after the game last night. I shot out to the casino.
Oh, really? Okay.
I made some money on the under last night. We're going to talk about that in a little bit when the Philly Godfather joins us.
Very cool.
And God only knows who he's got with him. Last week we were surprised by the sheep.
Yeah. Crazy.
Compelling.
show.
The sheep spilled his guts. I don't know who's lined up today. Next week we have Daryl Dawkins next Thursday.
Powerful NBA player.
He's going to talk about the cocaine scandal with Ray Richardson back in '81. Excuse me.
Crazy.
I got some gas from last night.
That's all right.
But anyway, on a good note, I hit the game last night, the total.
Fuck yeah.
The under. And then I hit the casinos, and I finally picked up some fucking scratch. I always get my ass beat the fuck up there.
At the casino.
I took a $2,000 bankroll with me. I turned it into almost $5,000. Got hammered.
Oh,
Don't know how the hell I got home. I haven't drove drunk in years. And I had my fucking blinders on, man. I had my fucking blinders on. And I feel bad for doing it, but I did get home safe. God, whew.
You know, it's tough sometimes. You just gotta wing it, man. You just gotta take a chance.
That's what I do with life, man. I won through life, and yeah, last night I won't do that again. But it was fun. It's actually felt good to win for once at the fucking casino. How many of you guys can relate, man? You go, you give, you get close. You got 18, she gets 19, you get 20, she gets 21, or he, or... It's so fucking frustrating, but I finally got him last night, Andy.
Yeah, it's tough.
I paid for it, though.
Every time I've ever been to a casino, it's like...
It's a $3,000 hangover.
That's fucking crazy. I usually let like $20 go, like a tank of gas, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm just going to go eat ice cream or some shit.
Hey, listen, while we're talking about ice cream here real quick, why don't we jingle up the Godfather, the Godfather. Yeah, and make sure you call the right guy this time.
Yeah, I'll make sure. I'm going to
make sure you don't call the guy over at the pizzeria. That really wasn't a pizzeria.
Definitely don't want to get punched in the face.
Imagine what he's thinking now. Who the fuck was that guy?
He's like, I'm going to light this motherfucker up. All right, here we go.
Oh, yeah, let's get him on the line. We got Moses in the background. He's been good today. How you feeling, Mose?
I hope he doesn't splash you with water this time.
No, I don't give him the water no more.
That's right.
No, I took his water cup away. He's fucking banned. You got to wait till later on. Ding, hello.
You have reached.
Uh-oh, we got a voice. Hang up. We'll get him. We have.
Please leave your message after the tone.
Well, we don't have him right there. We'll try back in a little bit. He must be tied up.
Well, you know what? Maybe he'll call us back. Maybe he won't.
Well,
fuck it. We'll see what happens.
No, he will, because we wanted to talk about last night's game. Andy Reid coming back to Philadelphia, and impressive. Kansas City looked good last night. I know you probably didn't watch the game because you were fucking getting your arm all fucked up.
That's right. I was getting my
night.
arm all ripped apart.
You got tapped out and all that fucking shit. But yeah, we made a move last night on the under, and I was hoping that the Philly Godfather can elaborate on why they made that move. You know, it's something I wasn't even looking at. I'm not big on unders, Andy. You can either bet the over 50 points, I think it was 50.5 when it closed, or you can bet under. Normally, I don't like these low-scoring games, so I always root for points. I very seldom do I play the under, and last night we did, and you know, it got a little close towards the end. But anyway, I want to say something to you real quick, Andy. Your fucking Pittsburgh Steelers suck.
I know,
they
man.
Fucking suck.
They're getting ripped apart, and guys, I'm gonna just put this out there to the listeners. I'm practicing up on I'm watching the football games.
Oh, really?
I'm reading as much as I can. Eventually, this is going to come around. I know a lot of people have been commenting like, yeah, Andy doesn't know shit. He only knows choppy slappy and all of that, but I'm coming around.
That's not what you do, though, Andy. That's not what you fucking do. You do you. You know, good for you. You do your thing, you know. I recommend if you've never bet on sports before, fucking don't get involved unless you're going to do it right. So you didn't miss out. It's like not doing cocaine or not doing a drug. You didn't miss much, you know?
Yeah.
Unless you're on the right side of the winners, you know, it's tough. There's a lot of guys out there struggling. That's why we do what we do. We're not always perfect. You know that. I have my spells where I can't get out of my own way, but we're consistent, and that's what you're looking for, consistency. And
you know what? I did want to tell everybody this. Like, this whole experience has been incredible for me. I'm learning a lot. And the coolest part about it is with, you know, obviously, and I'm just going to shout out with the Twitter names, at Danny B Wins, right? Via Twitter, and at Philly Godfather. I'm really learning a lot. And if you guys are just tuning into the show, just keep listening. I mean, we're getting a lot of hits on iTunes and via Ustream as well.
Yeah, last week we fucked up with the iTunes. We didn't hit iTunes. I got a lot of emails about that because a lot of people can't watch the Ustream. It's understandable.
And just so everybody knows, we're going to be uploading those to YouTube. So you'll be able to watch them and rewatch them, and definitely go back and watch Joey's show. Fucking Uncle Joey tearing it up.
Oh, goodness. He was in
awesome.
Denver. He was in Denver
Absolutely.
Wednesday night.
But the thing I wanted to stress was the people who are listening to the show who may just be interested in Danny or myself as personalities or just the conversations that we're having, you can really learn a lot about sports betting. And I've learned a ton from all of this, and I want everybody
to know. Take on the
bookies,
bookies, though, pal? You ready to go head on?
I don't know
with
if
a
I'm
little
ready
guidance,
to be a wise guy, but you know,
No.
I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna see what happens, and we'll just, you know, I've got the two best in the business working with me, and one gets to sit across from me on a daily basis. Well, you know what?
Again, the Godfather and his crew out of Philadelphia. I love saying the Philly Godfather. No, they're real numbers guys. They do this strictly by numbers. They keep their opinions, and I have a different approach. We ain't always on agreeance, you know. There's times that I'm like, I don't know about that, but more times than not, I'm gonna give a lean on what they feel. But I know a lot of people in the business, not just in Philadelphia, on the West Coast.
Oh shit!
That's my heart, buddy. That's from last night. Boom. Your heart on drugs. No, but you know, I do know a lot of people, and that's what makes me me. You know, I know everybody in the business, and I always say it's not what you know, it's who you know. But yeah, we started talking about your Steelers. They really look old. I called them old Ben. You know, I don't know. You don't know much. Did you see the game, Andy?
Well, you know what? I watched a little bit of the game.
Because I know Jimmy Sheep came out and said, take Pittsburgh.
Yes,
and they said take Pittsburgh, and
they got
they were in it
crushed.
though. A couple of turnovers, a couple of mistakes.
Well, I think the thing right now, and I was talking to a couple of guys about this, is a lot of injuries are what's bringing that team down. Mm-hmm. And right now, like, Roethlisberger is the only one really pulling the weight, but he had it seems like he had not the best game. So that's what's really going to be. I know it's a game of inches and stuff, but if you've got a lot of guys sitting on the bench.
The big thing, Andy, when you're out, when you're an underdog especially, and you make mistakes, it's going to cost you. It happened to Eli Manning Sunday against his brother. So when you're betting these games, you can put your bets in right. And you got to live with your decisions, because a lot of times after, it's out of your control. You don't know what the referee's thinking. You don't know which way the ball's going to bounce, or is Michael Vick going to get hurt. So there's a lot of factors that you got to put into this.
Now, the one thing I wanted to ask is, we talk a lot about moving lines and maybe switching bets.
Right.
Now, for somebody like me who doesn't really know shit about it, how can you go ahead and, let's say you're like, you bet, and then within the first couple minutes of the game, you're like, oh shit. Well, I fucking goofed.
Well, you can watch the tendencies of the first half of the first quarter. You can bet a second quarter bet.
So you could throw that bet around pretty frequently throughout the game.
Yeah, there's different ways. It's so different than it was when I was a kid. It was pretty simple. You bet the side, you bet the total, maybe a two-team parlay or the parlay cards. Now you can actually bet during the game. You can, as the game is in progress, you can actually say, I think the next play is going to be a run. I think the next play is going to be a turnover.
Okay.
And I don't do that. Listen, I still keep it simple. I'm an old school guy. This internet stuff, this social media, it's new to me. You know, to me, it takes a lot of my time, to be honest with you.
And you're getting a lot of the brunt of it.
I'm getting a lot of the brunt of it, but it's all right. You know, but it's I'm having fun at this. This doesn't pay my bills, so everybody knows. This doesn't fucking pay my bills. I have fun at this. I'm sitting on a boatload of money. I've done well over the years.
Oh, absolutely.
And it didn't happen overnight either. So I can fucking not work for 5 years and be a happy fucking camper. And still have my Mercedes, 2 of them.
Yeah.
Still have my big house, my vacation house.
In the sick
I do this because I enjoy it. You know, I do have a don't get me wrong though. I can't fucking lay down and retire. I got 2 young kids. A 4-year-old that's hell on wheels. And a 9-year-old that's feeling his oats. He's at that age where he knows what the fuck he thinks like. He's got life by the balls, you know. So, but no, I do well. I've done well, and I can sit back for 5 years and not do a fucking thing and still live like a king.
You're a savage, Danny.
I am a savage. And speaking of savages, I'd like to get out there and go see my boy Coco. I'm trying to plan a trip out on the West Coast to go to his neck of the woods.
You've been in the West Coast?
Oh yeah, I lived out there a few times. California,
damn.
I played baseball out there back in the early 80s. I was back out there in 87, 88.
I love
And my
the West
last
Coast.
journey out there was in 94. That's where I got into the business, actually, out in California.
Very cool.
We were out there in 2010. I can't believe it's 2000. In 2010 for a little family vacation. But no, I do like California.
Oh my
if it
God,
was up
it's my
to me,
favorite.
if it was up to me, I wouldn't be living in Pennsylvania. Not that there's nothing wrong with Allentown. It's centrally located, some nice spots, you know.
Yeah, you got New York and everything.
Yeah, the
but
AC, the Poconos. So no, it's not such a bad place. But give me a choice, you know, I'd be in San Diego, man. Fucking San Diego.
You know what? I've never been to San Diego.
No, it's gorgeous down there. It's beautiful. It's a little pricey. You better have your pockets pretty packed, you know.
Yeah.
But it's great weather and all that stuff. Let's see if we can get my boy on the phone here.
Let's call again. Let's see what's going on. All right.
Let's see what we can do here.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, we got some football going on.
out.
It's another ugly weekend of games if you check out
what?
the roster this weekend. It's
We've got the Bears versus the Steelers, and as far as everything that I'm looking at, Steelers are going to get crushed again.
They need to win that one. They have to win that one. The Giants are playing Carolina. They have to win that. It's not those. It's not a weekend where there's those marquee matchups. No, that's coming soon. In the next couple of weeks, you'll see college football. It starts condensing where the better teams play each other.
Okay.
Now it's out of whack. You got a lot of spreads this weekend with high numbers.
Now
30.
for a team, just real quick, like for a team like the Steelers or any team that's really kind of like down and out right now,
Right.
Are they at the point where it's like almost past where they could do anything about it?
No, there's plenty of time. But I think there's if you start off 0-2, I don't think your chances of making the playoffs or there's a breakdown. But personally, anything can happen. There's still 14 games left, so anything can happen. Look at the NFC East. I mean, look at teams like Eagles, Washington, Giants. Dallas is sitting at 1-1, and they're on top of the division. It's pretty.
So they
scary.
could still turn it around.
Well, yeah, anybody can turn it around as long as the lead team's not that far ahead. You know.
Okay.
Baseball too. We're getting ready for the postseason. You know, so that's exciting. You're not much of a baseball fan. I know the guys out on the West Coast are loving their Dodgers. So
Are they crushing right now, or
the
what?
Dodgers, yeah, they started off a little slow, but they got a nice club. I don't think they win the World Series. I don't think they get to the World Series. I see Pittsburgh for some reason playing Detroit. The Tigers. I'm not a Tiger fan, but I believe this is going to be their year. You know, in the NFL, I look at the teams right now. Denver obviously is the team to beat in the AFC. You look at the NFC. Seattle's hot. They can knock them dead. Green Bay can get the job done. But you know, one thing bad about football, you can have a great year. You can go 16-0. And you have that one bad game in the playoffs, and all of those 16 wins are for naught.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily have to run the table. It's only been done one time before from the Dolphins years ago. So to go undefeated, unscathed, Andy, it's not going to happen.
It's a rarity.
And it really doesn't matter because you still got to make the postseason. You got to win the games that count. Let's see if we can get them on the line, pal. Let's try to
let's go ahead.
Let's talk some numbers.
All right, here we go. Boop, 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 boop.
You have reached
Oh my goodness.
Hello.
No, let's hang up again.
Oh,
I don't know
shit.
where he's at. Uh-oh. We might be doing a show without him today. It's all right, though, Andy. You know,
Hey, you know, we gotta just.
it happens. He probably got caught up. Who knows who's in the car with him or whatever, you know.
He's running parlay cards. All
I was,
that.
yeah, I was just like curious who the hell's going to be in the back seat of his car today. You know, Jimmy fucking Hoffa or something like that.
Seriously, guys, if you're just tuning in for the first time, go back at least one episode because last episode was crazy.
It was
Hit
a
the
classic.
Ustream account.
Yeah.
It's ustream.tv/channel/keeping it real with Danny B, or you can just search it in Ustream. It was fucking insane. I needed a seatbelt. I needed a fucking helmet.
Dude, you saw my, you gotta be, I'm a little sluggish today. I'm gonna cut this show down a little bit. I
that's
need
cool.
some fucking rest. I'm gonna sleep on my bankroll though. I'm gonna put it underneath my fucking head like a fucking pillow. But
That's good.
yeah, no, I was. If you looked at my expression last week, I was like, "What the fuck? Like, where did this come from?" Because he never spoke before.
Yeah.
I think he did something with HBO about it, but
Well, you know what? It was really cool because it's it's a groundbreaking thing. This guy's kind of breaking his silence. He's been out.
I think we caught him on a bad day, to be honest with you. We caught him in the heat of the moment.
Well,
you know?
good for us because that really
That
fucking
was a
made for a
classic.
great show.
Yeah, that was good. It was, entertaining to say the least.
Oh,
There
shit.
he is. There he is.
Here it comes. Hello.
Yo, you guys up and running or what?
Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
called you a couple of times. It went right to your voicemail there, guy.
My phone went dead, my cell phone.
You know what? Every time we do that, you must get a lot of calls because every time I'm talking to you, either you're hanging up on me or you're just losing battery, one or the other.
There's a million freaking people calling me all day long. It never ends, you know what I mean?
I know, you're a busy guy. We just saying, I wonder who the hell's in his car today. Jimmy Hoffa going to make a guest appearance? You never fucking know. Jimmy Hoffa.
The only person I brought with me was Nick and the twins, brother. That's
I
it.
know. You already got me on that one once today, pal. Listen, you can get me once, but not twice. I was just telling Andy over here about last night after the game. You know, I know you guys moved on college too. You had the under in the NFL game. You took the dog in college. But I snuck on out to the casino last night, and I finally flipped a profit there. I finally came home with about 3 G's more than I left with. So I'm kind of excited, a little hungover, but I wanted.
How'd you do that? What was that? An accident?
Dude,
What
yeah,
happened?
fucking A. I fucking the first one to tell you, I was totally, you know what? Yeah, I got lucky. Simple as that. I don't fucking win at those places. I can't wait till they have sports betting one day. Hey, you know what? You put an article on the PhillyGodfather.com about, they upheld in the 3rd district or something like that. I don't know how the court systems work, but I guess there was a blow against the sports betting in New Jersey temporarily for now.
Yeah, they're trying not to make it happen over here, but it's a long battle. It might take a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
But Governor Christie promised everyone he's not going to give up. So hopefully it goes to the U.S. Supreme Court, and we get some sports gambling over here on the East Coast.
Well, you know what? I think Delaware, if worst case scenario, they should let Delaware have single action, where you can bet on a single game instead of the parlay cards, because it's hard. Those parlay cards are hard, but you seem to be doing pretty well with your cards. I know the NFL season's been doing you, 11-1 so far on the NFL season?
Oh, yeah, well, on the side, yeah, I've
Yeah,
been
it's
kicking some.
crazy.
It's actually more than that. Like last night, we had Kansas City plus 3.5. I just couldn't give it out. So it's actually, it's just been one of those legendary runs that, come along every once in a while at the PhillyGodfather.com. And as of right now, I think, 11-1 is what I gave out. We're probably more like 17-2 on the season on games I didn't give out. So, we're kicking ass, man.
But reality is, that's going to taper down a little bit or taper down a little bit. You're realistic about that. But, yeah, when it's good, it's fucking good. But, we were talking about the under last night, and you had given me some reasons earlier in the day, and I passed that on to a few guys. Well, let's break it down. Why were you hot on the under when everybody, and I mean everybody, was thinking high-scoring game last night? The bookmakers set the line high. Why did you guys feel the under was the move last night?
Well, I went on ESPN, I think around 4:45 yesterday. You hooked me up with your buddy, wasn't he, Tom Fallon?
Yeah, Tommy
up there in
Fallon.
Lehigh Valley.
Yeah.
And I kind of broke it down. I said, listen, both teams are going to show some kind of fatigue. Okay, it's a Thursday night game, so they're tired from the following week. The Eagles have played 3 games in 11 days. The Chiefs have played 3 games in 12 days. So both of those teams got to be exhausted. They got to be banged up. Okay, number one. Number two, Mike Vick was banged up going into that game. And on the radio, I broke it down that if he's banged up and if Chip Kelly lets him throw the ball, he's not going to be as effective and expect a couple picks, especially going into that game, Mike Vick had a QBR rating of 64.4 and was ranked the 10th best quarterback in the NFL. And as everybody knows, he's not nowhere near the 10th best quarterback in the NFL. I can give you about 20 guys that are better than this guy. And he hadn't thrown an interception on the year. So I expected him to regress. I expected him to become more of the Mike Vick that we know and throw some picks, especially if he's banged up.
Right.
And then again, like I said, the Eagles' offense looks great. Public perception, they're scoring all of these points. They're getting all these yards. They're number 3 overall offensively. They're number 1 with the run. But you know what? You know who they played? They played San Diego, who's got the 30th ranked defense in the league, and Washington, who I think is dead last at 32nd. So you know what? It's like playing basketball against a bunch of like 10-year-old kids. Yeah, you're going to look great. You're going to score a bunch of points. But then here comes Kansas City last night, who's got the number 1 overall defense in the freaking league.
Right.
And they're number 2 against the pass. So the Eagles, no way in hell were the Eagles going to pass on that team. Their defensive line is huge. It's ranked 5th in the league. They're tied for the league best with 9 sacks. And now everybody knows why, because that Chiefs defense is for real. Kansas City's for real. They're 3-0. And the other factor that I looked at was Andy Reid. I mean, he's coming home. And even though he tried to downplay it, that game meant the world to him. Coming back to Philadelphia and sticking it in Jeffrey Lurie's face. And people, wanted to argue the other side of the spectrum where, well, what about the Eagles players? Well, you know what? They didn't have to move their family. They didn't have to go find another job. They're still in Philly. They're still making millions of dollars. They don't care for Andy Reid, that whole situation there. So that's why it was a pretty big game. That's why I liked the under, and that's why I liked the Chiefs last night.
I listened to you live yesterday at 4:45, locally here in Lehigh Valley. They're out of Easton. ESPN headquarters in Easton. Tommy's a good guy, and you broke it down wonderful. I know you didn't get a chance to hear yourself, but I was like, that was pretty intriguing. You break things down and you give some real solid information with your breakdown too. Not a bunch of jumbo shit. You put logic was the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, and I actually tweeted out yesterday the wrong team was favored. How the hell could that bad Eagles team be favored in this game? I mean, I just couldn't see the logic behind it. I couldn't see. And what you do is you go back. Like, I'll go back and I got the NFL Rewind. So I'll go back and I'll watch the game again. I'll rewind it. And if you take away that 70-yard run by Mike Vick,
right,
and you take away that pick six and a bunch of fluke plays that happened, well, that game should have never got even close to the total.
Yeah.
So that game was definitely an under game from the door, and that was the only way to bet it.
You know what? Before you were on the show, I was trying to explain to Andy, sometimes you got to live with your decisions. You put your bets in properly, which you do, and then it's kind of up to fate. You can't control bad calls, injuries, or stupid stuff, turnovers. That doesn't really factor. I mean, you do factor in certain things. Like you did expect Michael Vick to turn the ball over, which he did, a couple of times last night. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, he looked horrible. He looked like himself. I mean, he's not a good quarterback anymore, man.
Yeah, he shined for a couple of years down in Atlanta where everybody was wearing his jersey, but I'm not a big Michael Vick fan. It's not what he did off the field. That really doesn't bother me. It's just I never thought that he was as good as people made him out to be. I've seen a lot better come and go, and there's a lot better quarterbacks out there. So, yeah, that was a good move last night, and we're talking about this weekend, too. Some garbage matchups. There's nothing really that's eye candy. There's some nice soft lines out there. But the big matchups. I think the best matchup I saw was Stanford playing Arizona State, maybe. The Irish playing. Who the hell was the Irish playing this weekend? Michigan State. But most of these matchups are inflated 38, 42-point spreads.
There's some big numbers out there, and these bookmakers are scared. The public's jumping on some of these big favorites, and even some of the wise guys are jumping on some of these favorites. If they're seeing value, they're trying to get ahead of the move out there. So they'll bet the game as soon as it comes out, knowing that the public's going to jump on it. So they'll move it 2-3 points, and then the public will jump on it late and move it another 2 points. And the bookmakers are trying to inflate those lines to just reduce some liability they have on the games.
Well, since I can remember, since we're kids, we're conditioned to root for the favorites. The Yankees are always the better team. This is always the better team. So people will follow the favorites more than the underdogs. So, yeah, I can understand why they inflate the lines, because most people, where the line should be 34, they'll still bet it at 38 because Alabama's that much better, or whatever the team is, just a scenario there. So
yeah, you got to be careful. You got to be, not to interrupt you, but you got to be careful betting into these inflated lines. Like, I'll give you an example, the way some of these wise guys manipulate the market. Okay, they'll see an inflated line on a favorite. They'll jump out on it. They'll bury it early, okay, knowing that line's inflated, so they'll push it 2 points, maybe 3 point stops. And then later on, the public will come in and push it another point. But that's where the problem happens. As soon as they push it over that key number, the wise guys are sitting there like a bunch of vultures, and they'll come back and they'll buy the other side and they'll bury it for all the rice in China, and they'll end up being on the other side of the game, knowing that line's 2 or 3 points inflated anyway. So they've pushed it another 2 points. Now the public's pushed it another point, and now they're sitting pretty. And that's called position as a wise guy.
But not everybody, let's face it, there's only a handful of guys that can actually do what you do and do it as successful as you do. I mean, the average guy is going to bet the first half, maybe the second half, the over, the under. They're not going to be betting that live action stuff. I was trying to explain to Andy, because I'm really not up to speed on that interactive betting as the game's actually in progress.
Live wagering? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, live wagering. I've never done it. For me, I won't even go there because you have to be very sharp at that, and I ain't got the time for that. So why don't you explain to Andy and whoever else out there is listening what we can do these days?
Well, listen, if you're watching a game, there's indicators you got to look out for. Fluke plays, teams overperforming against the norm, things that can't continue to happen in the second half. A perfect example is UCLA and Nebraska. They're down 14-3. I got a phone call telling me some sharp guys are betting UCLA on the live wagering. So I said, let me sit back and wait. See what happens. It goes to 21-3. I see some more indicators telling me that UCLA is going to come back and win this game. I bury UCLA. They're down 21-3. Boom. What happens? They end up winning, I think, by 20 points. So
yeah,
you got to really pay attention to what's going on in the games. You got to look for certain indicators and certain things that will lead you in that direction. You know what I mean?
Actually, tomorrow on Fox Sports LA and various cities across the nation. But out in L.A., we have Adam Osland, who works for KLAC Fox Sports, and he talks UCLA football. He's going to break down the Bruins tomorrow with some Dodger baseball. So if you get a chance, check us out. Follow us on Twitter to catch the link there tomorrow at 10 Eastern. But we're going to have some great guests next week. We got Daryl Dawkins, who's going to talk about Michael Ray Richardson and that cocaine scandal. He's going to stick out. They were roommates. I talked to Daryl Tuesday at the gym. And every time I look at him, Godfather, his hands, I feel like a child next to him. Honestly, I just want to...
It's like a T-bone steak with 5 sausages coming off of it.
Dude, he's so big. And he's such a nice guy, man. He's such a nice guy, but he's going to tell stories. He's going to tell it the way it is. He's going to probably defend his boy, because when I told him, he goes, that bullshit. He said, that ain't that. He goes, now, we used to get fucked up, but that shit didn't happen. So I'm kind of looking forward to hearing what Daryl has to say. I don't know.
That sounds like freaking a great show. You got Daryl Chocolate Thunder. He used to be one of my favorite Sixers when I was a kid. I remember when he broke the backboard, and I think it delayed the game like an hour and a half. That's when before they had the breakaway rims in the NBA. He was just a monster, man. He came straight out of high school, and I really want to pick his mind about certain referees and certain how travel affects certain players or partying. If these guys are partying, can they still perform at an elevated state? Because some guys can and some guys can't.
Well, I'm sorry to cut you. He did say that Richardson was the one that would score 40 after he had an all-night bender, and he'd be like, he jumped out the window one night. I had to go down, pick him up, carry him, and the next thing I know, he's putting 40 on the board. So, yeah, some of them, listen, how I met Daryl back in the day, and Lawrence Taylor, and a lot of the Giants and the Generals, remember the USFL, Herschel Walker, Doug Flutie, all those guys? My friend Joel Topia and Coco and I talked about this, was the ball boy for the Nets at the time. They used to practice at APA Trucking because Arthur Imperator owned the Nets at the time. So he got us in with the guys, and Daryl forgot my name. He knew who I was, but then I brought back some stories. He goes, oh, my God. So we kind of clicked, and yeah, I'm just curious if he's going to be able to fit in the basement, though. If he's going to be able to sit in this, I might have to put a little hole in the ceiling.
You're going to have to dig out the basement another 2 feet, bro.
No, I just put him on.
Get those Mexicans over there, start digging out that basement.
No, listen, I got to get them back. I'm getting some leakage down here. But
honestly, they're the best fucking landscapers in the world. They're some of the nicest people. I'm not trying to knock them or anything, but they just do a great fucking job when it comes to construction, landscaping, hard labor. These guys are some of the crappiest guys I've ever seen.
They do. They're very hard. They work hard. They just don't. They look at you and shake your head though when you're telling them what to do. But anyway.
And they're never screaming back at you. They're never giving you an attitude, man.
They're humble. They're humble. Yeah.
They're very happy to be in the jobs that they're in. Yeah, and they're doing jobs that not a lot of people want to do.
Let me tell you something, man. The problem with a lot of people in this country is they don't appreciate the country. Like I remember when my dad came over here from Greece, he had $200 in his pocket. He was a dishwasher. He was working 90 hours a week to make $90. A year later, I was born. So now he's got 4 kids. My mom was a seamstress. She goes to work. She makes $100 a week working as a seamstress. I mean, they came here to chase the American dream, and they appreciated this country. Till the day my father passed away, he kept saying, fuck the world, America is the greatest place to live. And you know what? A lot of people that have been here for years, through generations, they've forgotten how much opportunity you have here in this country and how great this country is. And a lot of the foreigners come over here, like the Mexicans. That's why they all want to come over here, because they see it. They see that opportunity. They see that value. They see what this country gives them, where they don't have it in Mexico. We're in a third world country. And they come here and they work their asses off and they educate their children, and it's just beautiful, man.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. Like, even being a younger guy myself, a lot of people my age are usually just like, America sucks, it's the worst, I want to go to Europe, I want to do all of this. But I've had the opportunity to travel this country, and it's amazing. And the people are great. You know, you're always going to run into dickheads and stuff like that. But in general, people that you meet, and even people on the street or anybody who's doing like hard labor and stuff like that, you meet them, they're very grateful to be in these positions. Well, and a lot of guys like me, we're part of the tech. Like, I'm really in the tech. I don't want to be doing backbreaking work. I want to take pictures. I want to make podcasts. I want to talk to people. I want to be doing work that inspires me. Not that that's not something that they can eventually do, but for the most part, if they're traveling to be in the United States, they want to be able to just work and provide for their family, and they have the opportunity to do that.
Well, this is the problem. Not to interrupt anybody, but a lot of kids that grow up in this country, they're spoiled. They go to college. They get out of college. They got a piece of paper. They think that piece of paper entitles them to something. They think they're special. They think they're elite. The bottom line is, man, you got to eat. So even if you do go get that paper, and what do you do? You're not going to get a job as a cab driver until you find a job in your field. Like, if I got to shovel shit for 14 hours a day to feed my family, I'm shoveling the shit. And later on, I'm going to look for the job that I want. But a lot of these kids today, they're getting out of college, and they're like, I'm not going to go work at McDonald's, or I'm not going to go work at a cab, or I'm not going to do landscaping. I got a degree. No one gives a fuck, man. No one cares about that fucking piece of paper.
I will tell you right now. I just graduated. It took me 6 years. It was the hardest thing ever, and I'm going to be completely honest. And I'm not going to tell anybody to do what I do or anything. But college, I regret it. I'm paying off $40,000 in college debt.
You're lucky.
Which I'm lucky. I know a lot of people. I have a friend who's got over
$250,000.
Yeah, $100,000. But all the work that I've gotten, right, has been through just taking advantage of opportunities. I contacted Danny, right? Oh, hey, I'm a photographer. I'd like to do a shoot. Now look at us. We're creating a network. We're building up names. We're being able to move lines.
And you're going to be in a reality show. You're going to be part of something special,
and all of that has just been from fucking hard-ass work and just getting the networking down, being able to talk to somebody with confidence. And now, not to go off on a tangent, but nowadays, a lot of guys my age, they just want to text somebody. They don't want to shake hands. They don't want to do anything. I'm telling you right now, I am not scared to go knock on somebody's door and just be like, hey, I'm Andrew. This is what I could do. I'm a content producer. I could do this. I could do that. But not a lot of people want to do that nowadays. They just want to, like, well, if I'm...
Man, you got to get your ass out there.
You have to.
You're only as good as your network, man. Listen, these Ivy League schools, yeah, they cost $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, whatever the fuck they cost to graduate. I don't know. I never went to fucking school. But you know what? Is their education that much better? No. But you know what's better? The people that are going there, their parents. Donald Trump his son went to Wharton Business School. The people that you meet in those situations. That's why I always tell people, you're only as good as your network. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with.
100%.
And that's where they have the advantage when they go to those Ivy League schools. They meet different people. They meet billionaires, millionaires, quadrillionaires, and that's huge.
Yeah,
you know
totally.
what I mean?
And I agree. Like, if I one day have enough money to be able to send my kid to a really, really good school, like in the Lehigh Valley, we have Lehigh campus. That's a really big school, but you're paying for the network, because eventually your kid's going to graduate college and they're just going to get a job because somebody's rich dad has a business and they could offer them $75,000 to start, and it's just the network that you're plugging yourself into. But a lot of guys nowadays, there are a lot of people who want to sit on their ass, but there are also people like myself, like a bunch of the guys I know. They're hustlers. They've got that old school mentality. They want to shake hands. They want to.
You gotta hustle, man. You gotta hustle, Andy. And this is my problem with colleges today. Okay, when I was growing up, you graduated high school, you can go find a job. Then after that, they said you need a 2-year degree in college. Then you need a 4-year. Now you need an 8-year.
Oh yeah.
Now, next thing you know, you need a 12-year. And guess what's happening? I drive around the city, man. These colleges are buying up the whole city. They're getting richer and richer. People are owing hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Kids are graduating, and you know what? There's no jobs. So it's a little bit of a scam. If you don't go to college for the right thing, and next thing you know, you're done, you graduate, you get a degree, you owe $200,000, and you can't find a job, how does that benefit you? The only person that's benefiting is those colleges, man. They keep growing. They're buying up all the real estate in the city. They're making all the money in the world. The presidents of the colleges are making all that money, and the people are still suffering, and that bothers me.
Oh, yeah, it bothers the shit out of me too, man. It's fucked up. I mean, I went to school, like I said, I paid all this money, and it's like, honestly, for the first 6 months, I couldn't fucking put pennies in my pocket. I had nothing, So just that sheer drive and hustle is the only way that I feel is, degree or no degree. If you could hustle and you could shake hands and you could learn to have a decent conversation, you could be the smartest guy in the world. But some of these guys who have real smarts, they can't hold a fucking conversation.
You know what? I got to butt in here before I fall asleep. Because I'm getting, honestly, if you look at me, I'm like nighty-night. But Andy, I never heard you talk so much in your fucking life. You said more in this last segment than you did since I met you like 4 months ago.
You know what?
Did you hear the passion in Andy's voice? Keep going, Andy, man. I love it. I love the passion in his voice.
Andy's
it's
a
real.
very sharp guy. Very sharp. That's why I took a shot with him. I'm glad I did. I didn't know where we were going with this when we first started. I didn't know if people would give a rat's ass. I didn't know if we'd have the right guests, which we found, thank God.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's only going to get better. And, we've created a little buzz. I didn't expect it. And we're only 6 weeks deep into this, something like that. And
we're very grateful for all the people who've been listening.
Yeah, it's been good. You've provided some dynamic guests, and I'm going to do my share. Andy's going to do his share. And together, I think we can put a nice little network together and take this to the next level. Wherever it goes, God only knows, But I plan on enduring this. I've had ups and downs, mixed emotions of it because it's taken a lot of my time. And you got the guys that are haters, but they're always out there. And social media is kind of wearing me down already, So, but let me tell you something. I'm happy I did this. And I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to bring more guests on. I just got to get a little tiny stool for Daryl Dawkins so he can sit low. And he's not.
You got to get him a short chair.
I'm going to put him in my kid's little chair, my little kid's little step stool. Say, Daryl, it's to be Daryl. Sorry about that. But no,
make him sign a basketball for me.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll do that, brother. I'll definitely do that.
Real quick, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm pretty excited about this fight this weekend. John Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson. I'm not throwing tons of money. I'm not throwing any money really. But I mean, obviously John Jones is the main guy. You want to go for John Jones?
And he's breaking down some. I love.
He's the better fighter. He's got way better defense and he's got better punching accuracy. And obviously he's gonna take this kid down. But Gustafsson, he has had some really good knockouts. He's really really hungry for this title. But John Jones is he's one of the best fighters in the world, and he's gonna fucking take this guy and Marcelo team his ass and choke him out. Good night.
You love that UFC, baby. I like it.
He was talking before you came on, and you got a little arm lock last night. He got a little bruise on his bicep.
Busted my arm up, man.
A little bicep bruise. But I was telling him you're bruised up, but I'm banged up. But no, honestly, it felt good to actually win it. To win the game is always good, of course. But then when you go out and you win at the casino, which I never do, So I said, let me have a good time, and I did, and I'm paying for it today. And tomorrow's a big weekend. It starts the big weekend. Again, I started saying, Godfather, the matchups, the inflated lines. Sunday's games ain't really that great. I mean, there was a game we wanted to talk about in the NFL. And it's Atlanta playing Miami. The game, I believe, opened up at Pick'em, and now it's up to 2 points. You want to elaborate a little bit on that NFL game?
Yeah, it's actually up to 3 in some places. Steven Jackson ain't playing for Atlanta. It's going to leave the Falcons very one-dimensional. That should create a big problem for them. And I like Miami here. I think it's a big game for them to prove that they've actually arrived. Both teams got great offenses. Atlanta's offense is ranked 9th overall. Miami's is 8th. The problem with both teams is their offensive lines. They've given up. I think Miami gave up like 5 sacks, but Atlanta's given up like 7 or 8. So expect Miami to put some pressure on that offensive line and give Matty Ryan some problems. Both teams got great special teams. Miami's wide receivers, Wallace and Hartman, they've been kicking ass this year. And Julio Jones has looked average. Tony Gonzalez from Miami, for Atlanta, he's kind of looking kind of old lately. And I kind of like Miami here. I kind of like them to prove a point, make a statement, and win the game by maybe like 7 points.
You know what what kills me about places like Miami and out west in California? When you're in New York or Philly or Boston, you got a fan. They don't leave the stadium. They're there to the ninth inning, to the bottom of the ninth, to the game's over. You go down to Miami, you go out to the West Coast, a Dodger game. By the seventh inning, they're getting in their cars, they're leaving. Miami, they don't. You know what? And I'm happy for Miami to have a good club. You know, you always think about what was back in the '70s, Andy, before you were born.
They're going to challenge the Patriots this year for that division.
Oh, they don't look
by
good.
the end of the year, they might win that division. The Patriots, to me,
bad.
look average. They don't look that hot. They lost, some of their major players. And Tom Brady, he might be getting old. I don't know. All I know is I think Miami's got a great chance to win that division this year.
Wow. I mean, I looked at New England in the last game. I mean, they look bad. I mean, he's missing a lot of tools. Would they win by 3 against the Jets in the last game? They barely beat Buffalo. So.
I mean, listen, any quarterback but Geno Smith beats that team on that day.
Right.
I think I could have beat the Patriots that day. That's how bad Geno Smith is. But, they're looking average, man. To me, the Patriots, they don't look that special this year.
I know Seattle. You're big on Seattle this year. Of course.
I got them at 10-1 to win the Super Bowl, man. In Seattle.
Yeah.
I love Seattle this year.
You know what? And they got great fans. You play up in Seattle, you better bring the earplugs because they bring the noise up there.
Man, listen, if they get home field,
that's it. Lights out.
That's it. It's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. No one's beating them. Forget the Broncos and the AFC. I don't think anyone can beat this team, barring injuries, man. They're the best team in football.
Seattle did. They did make the Super Bowl one year, didn't they? Then lost. Did they make the Super Bowl?
They played. What did they play? They played the Steelers
Pittsburgh,
in that game.
yeah,
That was
Pittsburgh,
fixed.
Yeah, fixed.
The fucking game was fixed.
Anybody that we know was on the field that day?
I wish I did, man. Where's our ref at? Oh, he's in basketball. He's done. He's out of basketball. My bad.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, it was. We were talking about the sheep, and that was really Andy and I would like. That was very compelling. We're gonna get that thing out there, and it's on YouTube as well. Yeah, not just on UStream. And that was very. I feel like I guess honored that he took this forum to talk about it.
It's the first time. Listen, it's the first time he's ever talked about it, man. That's huge. If anyone knows about the scandal, you can read the book Game in the Game. Tim Donaghy, Jimmy the Sheep Batista. I mean, it was huge. It rocked the NBA. It rocked David Stern. And, it made some noise. So, yeah, it was huge. First time he ever talked about it.
No, and then one thing that kind of, made me feel bad was when he hears my voice, it reminds me of you-know-who, and I'm like, oh, man, I don't want to go down in his history books as the guy who reminds him of somebody, but I don't know.
Well, you know what? For that story, I'm glad that he thought of, our old friend, Mr. Basketball Guy. But you know what? I don't want to name names, but that story was fucking crazy.
It was good.
I needed a fucking seatbelt for that. It was nuts.
Yeah, and again, that's going to be up on the site for a while. It's going to be also on YouTube for those that missed it. I know, again, a lot of people prefer to listen on iTunes because you're working out, you're on the road, you're at whatever. It's a lot easier to walk and listen than sit and get entertained. But, we're going to move forward with this stuff. And Darryl Dawkins, I did ask him about that. Now, obviously, he wasn't in the league in 2007, but... he was very close. I think he was still tied up with the Nets. He's with the Nets now, the Brooklyn Nets. And he said something. He goes, listen, he said Timmy took the rap for a lot of guys. He did some messed up things, but he felt that there were other dirty refs out there that were kind of doing the same thing. You just didn't. The NBA kept a close lid on that, from what I understand. I never really dug deep into this. I could give a rat's ass.
Yeah.
When the story...
Just give me the right side. That's all. Who cares what's going on? Just give me the information.
You know what? Here's the story. I remember in 2007 when the story broke. I only started using social media November, December, and this is new to me. But on my radio shows every Saturday, I've been doing radio forever, 20 years. When I heard, a dirty referee, so what the fuck? It's a surprise? What the fuck? Yeah, everybody's shocked. But, that was definitely compelling. I got a chance to speak to Henry Hill, too, before he passed, of Goodfellas, the gangster, about the Boston College scandal, So I had a chance over the last several years to interview guys that were a part of the... I got to get Pete Rose. Now, I was at a Kentucky Derby with him once back in 96. Good guy. He didn't talk much about anything back then. He was just looking at the fucking horses.
Pete?
No, Pete loves his horses. Pete's a big
Yeah,
horse.
I seen him out in Vegas a couple years ago. I talked to him for about 3 hours. We were hanging out. He's a good guy, man. He just he didn't pay all his gambling debts, but he's still a good guy.
My boy's a good capper with the horses, Charlie Shorts down in Miami, and he introduced me to him. And we got a chance to go out to the Derby in '96, and yeah, he bought everything. Good-hearted guy, but he didn't really talk much, not to me anyway. But I've been around 3 guys that have been involved in some of the biggest scandals ever: Tim, Henry, and Pete. What else is there? The Black Sox. I wasn't born then. I didn't know what's his mug, the guy, the gangster, Arthur Rothstein, whatever his name was, that threw the World Series. Or paid it off, but
you know what? While we're talking about baseball, who was the guy? I recently heard this on the Joe Rogan podcast. There was a pitcher who thought he wasn't going into a game, so he dropped acid and then ended up pitching a no-hitter.
Spaceman Lee? No, because he was pretty messed up. Bill Spaceman Lee. I don't know that story. Why don't you Google it?
You know what? I'm going to type it into my iPad while you guys talk.
You know what? Anybody out there, you want to tweet us a question? Feel free.
At Danny B Wins or at Philly Godfather.
Just fire away. That's what I meant to say. Like I said, if I wasn't so hungover, I would have been more prepared for you fellas out there. But there's always Monday and Wednesday and Thursday. But
I think the guy's name was Ellis. I forget his first name.
Doc Ellis for Pittsburgh. I'm a pretty much of a
Doc Ellis. That's
Doc
right.
Ellis. There you go. He was pretty. I'm a baseball historian. You know, when I was a kid, I was always fucking punished. So what I would do is read these sports books, and I had the baseball cards. So back in the day, you couldn't put nothing. What's that guy's? Beat the Schwab or whatever the thing is on ESPN. I was like that with baseball. At 16, 15, you couldn't put a fucking nothing, but especially a fastball. I jack it that fuck out of the park.
I'm just going to throw this out there because it's so interesting. I'm reading this off of a Wikipedia. Doc Ellis Phillips Jr. threw a no-hitter on June 12th, 1970. He later claimed that he accomplished the feat under the influence of LSD. This fucking savage dropped acid and then threw a no-hitter. Yeah. That is amazing. I wish I could have been fucking alive then. That was just
I couldn't even eat that candy. Coco gave me a drive home.
Listen, I made the mistake. I didn't talk about it last Monday on the show, but last Friday, he slipped me a Tootsie Roll. And I was all geeked up, jacked up on the booze, and I was like, hey, whatever, give me that fucking thing. And it took a while. By the time I got into the club, it started closing in on me in the club.
Yeah. Next you guys are crazy.
Dude, so then I got the chills. I was sitting by the front door because it was the only place that there was any breathing room, and I was like freezing. I felt like my eyes were actually tearing at the end because all of the Mad Flavor fucking Death Squad people wanted to get to know me too. And I had this one guy, good guy, he followed me around the whole night. I said, bro, listen, I can't even fucking see, man. My eyes are fucking tearing from the THC.
I call that shit deep space.
Dude, honestly, I promise I won't ever do it because it ruined a good time. I was fucking happy. I was having fun, chasing people around with the camera, closed that window, all that neat shit. And next thing you know, I'm fucking tearing like a
One of these days when Coco
one of these
comes
days,
back,
Alice,
the
one of
four
these
of
days,
us, we will have a good time with a Tootsie Roll or two.
Here's what I'm aiming to do. I can't promise you. I know I can get Coco. I know I can get him down here.
Yeah.
It might not be next week or next month. He's got a busy schedule, but I'm going to get him to get Joe Rogan on.
Oh, shit.
Now you want to talk about some fucking ratings? We'll get Joey. We'll get Joey Odessa.
That would be crazy.
Oh, we got Joey Coco Diaz, Joe Rogan, and Joey Odessa.
If that could happen, I would be stoked. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge MMA guy, more particularly on the jiu-jitsu, and he's actually a 10th Planet
Joe Rogan?
He's a 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And, I mean, he's one of the freaking greatest announcers in the world. I mean, he knows the sport very well, and I can't wait to have him call Jones versus Gustafsson. I mean, he makes it funny.
Oh, he calls all those fights?
He calls those fights. Yeah, he's been calling those fights for years, and
he's a very busy.
All right, Andy, listen, who do you want? I'm going to bet you a Happy Meal. I'll give you the option. Who do you want?
I got Andy covered. I got his back.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can throw out some numbers here. Jones has
$1.99.
What's the line on the fight? What is it?
Okay, hold
on. -700 or something.
Let me. I have no idea.
$5.
Oh, you know what?
Get yourself a toy.
Oh shit! I see now. I don't understand why the numbers are so high, like -200 and all that. Can you explain that?
That's 200 to win 100.
200 to win 100. Okay, but here's my stats on Jones and Gustafsson.
Listen, do you like Jones?
I love Jones.
All right, give me the other side. I'll bet the opposite. Whatever you bet 100 times in a row.
You know what? But what he just said to you, though, Andy, is here's what I tell people that they don't want to pick up the phone. They're afraid to talk to somebody. If you're in doubt, just walk into a sports bar on a Monday night or whatever it is. 20 people. If a majority likes Team A, go with Team B. You do that for 18 weeks or 17 weeks of the NFL season. You're going to make money going against. Yeah. Joe Rogan.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, they don't win. I got a lot of guys hit me up on Twitter. "Oh, do you like Miami tonight? Do you like Dallas tonight?" And every time they hit me up, I'm messing with them. I'm like, "No, I like the other side." You know what I mean? 'Cause more times than not, they're not going to pick the right side.
No, but you're in a position where you can do that. You know, you guys are numbers guys. I rely on people like you across the nation. But I got to say, you guys are probably the best I've ever seen. And
well, you know what? I was actually saying this before when we were getting started with the podcast. I mean, it's very cool for a guy like me. I'm just getting into, you know, this whole realm and being able to educate myself. But I mean, I'm sitting across from one of the best out there, and I've got one of the best in Philly just calling in, and I'm really getting a great education. I've been telling everybody this. If you're interested in laying some money down on some sports, you've got to be listening to this show. Hashtag Keeping It Real on Twitter, at Danny B Wins via Twitter, and at Philly Godfather. They've both got their websites. They've both got the picks. But just sitting here from knowing nothing and coming to week 6, right? We're in episode 12, powerful episode 12.
Yes.
I've got an education now that if I had a couple extra bucks to throw around, I fucking throw I throw that money around with these guys.
Well,
I'm telling you right now.
I had told him, my Godfather, you know, if you've never done it before, it's like if you've never done drugs, don't do it. There's no sense to do it. But if you're gonna do it the right way. Don't be reckless. And
Listen, you want an advisor. You want somebody to help you out. If you just want to do it with friends on your couch, that's cool.
Different.
But if you really want to move some money, you have to have an advisor. I wouldn't buy stock, right? For anything. But if I wanted to buy stock, I would want to pick the sharpest guys out there. And I happen to be sitting with them right now. So if you're listening to this podcast and you've got a couple friends who are interested, tell them to fucking tune in. There's plenty of picks being thrown across this right now live. And if you go to the website, it's what, $10 a month? Or you throw a little extra money, you invest in these guys, you're going to get a return on that investment.
You know what? Here's the deal. Between the both of us, you know, it'll run you $200 and something. I mean, that's a deal.
That's a deal.
You got him, you got me, and believe me, he's the guy. I ain't gonna lie. But there's things that he doesn't do that I do, and I do know other people. But it's a great combination.
Listen,
here.
it's all about, to me, from looking at the outside, it's all about a network, right? You know super sharp guys.
Absolutely.
Godfather knows super sharp guys. But as far as a person coming into that, I want to be connected to you. And you know what? I'd be willing to spend that money because, listen, what, $200? Okay. In 1 month, I spend $200 on gas. If I want to get a tattoo, that's easily $200.
Yeah.
If you want to go out for a really long night of drinking,
Oh.
that's $200 easy. You want to take your girlfriend out or your wife out for a
last
nice
night,
weekend, you're gonna spend at least $200. Why not try to get a return on that? So that's
This is the way I break it
Pow!
down, man. If we give out 40 games in a month, each game, how long does a game take? 3 games to play, 3 hours to play.
The sport, 3 hours.
You're getting 120 hours of entertainment in
shit.
the course of a month. You're going to turn a profit. You're going to have fun doing it. You're going to get educated. You're going to get informed, and you're going to get entertained. I mean, it's a grand slam. It's not even a home run, man. It's a grand slam for anyone that signs up at Danny B Wins or at thephillygodfather.com.
Yeah, and again, have fun with this, man. If you know what I'm saying, don't get ahead of yourself. We always say that, even when we're riding a hot streak, or just don't go ahead and think for yourself. And that's where you go wrong. You're doing good. You're 11-1, 17-2 altogether. You're saying. You know, and then you got guys trying to read between the lines, and like, you know, you just got to stay within yourself, and that's where people go wrong. Because eventually, we're all going to hit a snag. It happens. I can't tell you how many times. You tweeted out something the other day. You said you must have lost a trillion bets. I know you were being facetious, and but at the same time, it's part of this. You know, it's all part.
Yeah,
of
listen, I tell people all the time, man. I've lost millions of dollars gambling, been gambling in my lifetime, but thank God I've made a little bit more. So you're going to win. You're going to lose. You got to take the good with the bad. And you just got to keep rolling with it. And eventually, by the end of the year, you're going to turn a profit. And thank God we started off red hot in the NFL.
Right.
We started off red hot in college football. The parlay tickets at Dover State Park are kicking ass. Last night I tweeted one out. I got Minnesota on one with at Kansas City in the under. And what was so cool about last night was I was headed to Delaware State Park. My buddy calls me up. He's like, stop by the restaurant. I said, I can't. I got to go play these parlay tickets. He goes, they have a fucking parlay machine inside the restaurant.
Oh,
it's a seafood restaurant.
Cool.
So I get down there. fucking, the place is nice. They got great food. I'm sitting down, I'm chilling. They got a fucking million TVs, and I go up and I play my parlay tickets. There's a fucking little kid behind the counter punching the machine. It was fucking, it was beautiful, man. It was so much better than going to Delaware State Park where you got to wait in line with 1,000 people, and it was more calm, cool, and collective. Sometimes, you know what? You might want to go to Delaware State Park because it's got a different atmosphere.
Right.
But every once in a while, when you just want to chill, now you can go to a restaurant and just have some dinner, bet some parlay cards. I mean, it's beautiful. It should be everywhere throughout the country like that.
Oh, no,
totally.
No shit. That's cool because the atmosphere is better. Now let me ask you something out of curiosity. Are the limits the same? Is it state run? So is the limits different at Delaware State Park versus the guy?
No, it's all the same.
State?
I think the payout, maybe if you hit, like, if there's weeks I win 30, 40 dimes on there, that guy ain't going to have it to pay me. So you know what I mean?
Take it in shrimp.
You know, you can at least you can bet them there, and you can go get paid somewhere else. It's no big deal. But anytime you want to change of environment, because you keep going the same thing all the time, you get bored with it.
Yeah.
It gets stale. So if you want to go get some seafood and bet a parlay ticket, it's great. If you want to go grab a glass of Chateau Haut-Brion at a nicer restaurant, and they got a machine in there, that's great. And if you want to go eat a hot dog and a cheeseburger at Delaware State Park, that's fucking awesome too. You know what I mean?
I love hot dogs, but the aftermath is
Get that
definitely-
acid reflux.
Good, that fucking that pig scan and all that shit. But that is pretty cool, man. I know that. I think I touched base on this and I said it wrong. Clifton, New Jersey, they're trying to simulcast horse betting live, like OTB style, from the sports bars, which is the start. It ain't football, it ain't basketball, whatever. But at least we're getting one step closer, and that's all I ask. You know, we talking about before, you guys were talking about how people are not appreciating the country. I love this place. You know, when I was up in New York last week and I saw the World Trade Center, you know, from the hotel window, and I used to have the view right across from that when I was living up that way up to, I moved out last December. Amari Stoudemire was my neighbor. But just to watch that thing and say, we fucking did it, man. 12 years ago, they knocked it the fuck down. They tried to take what was important to us, our freedom, our pride, and boom, that thing's up there. It's a big fuck you tower. It's got like looks like
It's
fuck you.
fucking huge.
It's basically saying, fuck you, I'm back. 12 years bigger and better and brighter and grander. My only problems with this United States is the sports betting. I think it's ridiculous that it's not offered everywhere. And the way some of the older people have to fight for health benefits. I think that's sad when you work your whole life and you got to worry about getting medicine.
That's tough.
You know, that bothers me. But besides that, there's no greater place than this.
Yeah, but you know what else bothers me? I want to bring it to attention too, and I think Sir Ivan even brought it up. He's got a charity for it. It's these soldiers that go overseas, they fight for our country, and they come back. I mean, listen, everyone that fights for this country should come back to a free house,
free pass,
where they can live in.
Right.
They don't have to pay for it. Listen, if you put your life on the line to defend our rights and our country and our beliefs, they deserve a house, man. They deserve a house for them.
You should a free fucking pass. A free pass. You know, you should, especially if you serve tours. Like there's guys that go in, they do 3 years. That's okay. That's one thing. That's still good for you.
Listen, if you go to war and you risk your life, you know what? You shouldn't even have to ever pay taxes again, man. You put your life on the fucking line for 360 million people, man. When there's a war like that, fucking let those guys go, man. They put their balls on the line. You know, that's huge.
Another thing is, which kind of it's a real bummer, but it's the high price of schooling, right? A lot of these people, or a lot of people that I've seen, even guys from high school and stuff like that, they will, I'll see them and they'll be like, oh yeah, I just came back from a tour, and they look like different people. You go through hell when you're there, and everybody knows that, but they're like, yeah, I just couldn't afford going to school, right. And it's like, I mean, I would like to have the choice. If I want to go to school, I should be able to go to school. But unfortunately, and this is why I'm so passionate about this, is you spend so much money on school, right? But some people can't even spend that amount, so they end up having to risk their entire lives. And yes, I credit them for going and fighting for this country. That is huge. That's great. But why not give them the option? Why do they have to go and die or potentially die in order to even get the opportunity at education? The only thing that I am upset with when people, when this conversation comes up about the country and certain practices that go on, is in other countries you have free schooling and you have free health care. Listen, I don't want to get too heavy into politics or anything like that. I don't really touch it, you know what I mean? I take pictures.
Can't vote myself.
I do the podcast. I do jiu-jitsu. I hang out with my friends. But you know what? When it comes down to it, I think everybody should be entitled to education. And
Yeah, well, this is the problem, Andy. you got 360 million people, and most of them ain't pulling their weight.
Oh, no, I believe
You know what I mean? And that's
believe-
why, listen, if everybody was pulling their weight, we might be able to do that. If we had politicians that weren't ripping people off, we might be able to do that. I mean, there's so much shit going on behind the scenes that fucked that up for everybody.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean? And my biggest problem is people have gotten real lazy. They go through a drive-through. They use a remote control. They don't want to do this. They feel entitled. That's the biggest problem I see right now with the younger generation and the youth, and a lot, actually, even people my age. They feel like there's something special, man. You got to pull your weight, bro.
Oh,
You
totally.
can't go out there and have 10 kids with 10 different women and expect schools to be free. When I got 2 kids and I'm paying for everything, why should I pay for your mistakes and your 10 kids that go to school for free or go to college for free? So there's a fine line. You really got to dig deep when you start talking about this kind of crap.
Yes, that's why I don't get into politics, religion, because it's such a touchy issue. But there is a lot of dead weights out there. Andy, go ahead.
You know what's cool? I mean, just kind of capping or just finishing up with this episode in particular. The entire time we've been really heavy on sports, and this is one of the first podcasts where we've really expanded. We got deep. You know what I mean? And for people who are listening, this is why you're going to tune in over and over again, because we're going to cover all of our bases, not just with baseball, football, fighting, all of that, but we're going to get to know each other. I mean, this is a great thing. And like I said, I'm going to keep referring back to Twitter. If you have a question or if you've got some shit an article or something like that, at Danny B Wins, at Philly Godfather, DannyBWins.com or PhillyGodfather.com. We'll talk about it on the podcast. Sure. You've got some crazy shit you want to talk about? Bring it up.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
I got more stories to tell than Dr. Seuss, but I like to hear other people. There's some very entertaining people out there.
It'd be cool. It'd be cool if we could have people call in. That'd be fucking awesome.
We can,
you know what I mean?
we can do that. We can do that. But then we have to give the number out, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry have the number, and they'll.
Yeah, we gotta get an 800 number.
Yeah, no. What they'll do is, I know.
1-800 Danny B Wins. Call us.
Oh shit!
And tell us how you really fucking feel.
Oh, I know how a lot of people feel, but I don't give a rat's ass, to be honest with you. There's times where I take things a little personal because I'm a proud guy, but I'm just like, what the fuck?
You gotta let those haters go, man. They're in the rear view mirror, bro. They're roadkill. Don't even worry about no one hating, talking shit.
You know what?
They're all just, they're jealous, man. They're insecure about their abilities. And we got a good little squad here, and we're going to keep the momentum going.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm just an emotional guy. I wear it on. You see, when I walk in a room, you know what you're dealing with. I don't hide nothing. I talk a lot. I spill my guts maybe too much.
Hey.
But I'm an emotional guy, and I take this very serious. I'm always trying my best, man. And I've made my mistakes in life. I've made my mistake picking games, too, but God damn it, I've been doing this a long time. I live in a beautiful house. I drive the nicest cars anybody can want. I've done well. Like I said before the show, I can retire, not forever, for 5 years. I can sit back and live like a fucking king.
Fuck yeah, that's
But I'm
great.
not going to do that. I'm going to sit. I'm going to march forward. I'm going to do these shows week in and week out. And before you know it, we're going to have that entertainment thing that we're talking about.
Hell yeah.
Godfather. We're going to have our own network. We're going to have
PGF Network, baby.
I
It's
love
coming,
it.
man.
Oh,
We're making
shit.
moves. I'm pitching that sports gambling game show next week to some executives that we were
shit.
talking about.
Dude, that is such a
so
good
you never
thing.
know what happens, man.
That is brilliant.
Things are looking good.
I love that. I love the concept. I'm the MC, though. I got to be the MC.
Yeah, we got to make you the MC.
I
You just
I'll
got to tone
take-
it down a little bit. You know what I mean? Every time that little fucking nut wants to come at you, you got to be like, calm down, calm down.
They're not, well, you know what? I am a tortured soul, though. I am a little twisted. I ain't never told you I play with a full back.
Makes you unique.
But you know what? I'm a very kind guy. I'm generous. I'm the guy that always goes in my pocket to pay for a bill. I'm the guy, even when I was broke back in the 80s. I got it. And I didn't have it. I always wanted to, because I look at money like it's fucking money. It's a piece of it's a dead president on
Can't
a
take
fucking
that
piece
shit
of
anywhere,
paper.
yeah.
So I don't really, maybe I should put more stock or more value into the dollar, because it's pretty much, I've always had it. It's come and gone, but I've always managed to always do well and drive nice shit and do good stuff. And
I think that's what's great about the both of you is you've had.
Man, I drive a Prius, man.
I know you talk, but
I
you're
drive a little Toyota Prius. It's
Yeah.
like 60 miles a
I think
gallon.
that shit
But you
is
gotta-
That's what I drive every day.
Yeah, but you
know
got
what
a
I
car
mean?
that has like 1,200 horsepower too. That's parked somewhere. You got a fucking spaceship. That thing's not even street legal.
That 1,200 horsepower
That's-
67 Camaro.
That's when you got to go. You're in a hurry to pick up the envelope, so you bring out
Yeah, but
the
you can't drive that fucking thing thing every day. You worry about parking it. You worry about driving
dude.
someone hitting it. It gets like 6 miles to the gallon.
Oh.
I mean, you get crushed. You drive that fucking.
Dude, is that thing? Let me ask you something. Is that thing raw or what? 1,200 horsepower. What the fuck? How do you get through the streets with that? It's not street legal.
Man, you hear that thing from like a mile away when I take that
Like a
monitor
fucking
out.
airplane
It's
coming.
fucking loud, you know.
Yeah,
And then I got the black one and the vet. I mean,
You got
listen, man,
toys,
they're toys.
But you know
You
what's
can't
cool?
flex every day, but every once in a while, if you want to have
Yeah.
some fun, you break out the hot shit and you have a good time.
The
you
cool
know?
thing about the both
Prius,
of you
the
is
Prius.
that you both came from nothing. You fucking had to work really, really hard, and I really respect that. You know, not just blowing smoke.
Thank you, Andy.
I mean, seriously, like you guys have worked hard. You found your niche, and you just kept pushing and pushing. And I mean,
Story
it's
of my life,
amazing
man.
what you guys have done. And it's very cool to be a part of that. So I think those people who are tuning in, they got to pay attention that these guys are really sharp. They've got street smarts, and not everybody has that. You don't want somebody who necessarily can't hold a conversation, but can fucking launch a space shuttle.
Well,
you want
no.
somebody who's got some knowledge, who can have a conversation, who's a normal guy. I really respect that. I think that's great.
Thank you, Liz. I'm the first one to tell you I'm not teaching your kids no grammar. I'm not going to be sitting there teaching them English.
How do you spell that?
I know I get people when I make mistakes on Twitter, they want to attack me. Well, listen, I'm not trying to win a spelling fucking bee, but you got the fucking message when I'm tweeting something out. You know what? I'm a street smart guy. I am intelligent. You know, I'm not.
You're one of the smartest guys I know. You're hanging with me, ain't you?
Yeah, I know. Listen, listen. The bottom line is, I've said it. It's not what you know; it's who you know.
That's right.
I ain't ashamed. Listen, I'm very confident in life. I don't let nothing. I walk into the room. I don't give a fuck who's there. Royalty. I'm pulling up a seat. I don't give a fuck. But I'm also humble. I also know when you got to surround yourself with the right people, and you got to know. Sometimes there's always the tough guy, and you got to say, this guy's tougher than me. Or this guy's, so
Absolutely.
I can humble myself and say, you know what, I will listen to this guy because they do know that much more. But even before I met the Godfather, before I met Tim, I've been doing this a very long. I was always resourceful, always. But to find the consistency that I found now, it just feels good because I got a product. We have a very good product, and now I have the ammunition. I can win for you consistently.
That's right.
But you just got to ride it out. You can't panic if we go 0-3. You can't panic if we lose back-to-back weeks. Stay with us throughout the fucking calendar year, and I promise you, man, this is good stuff here.
Yeah.
We're not here trying to hurt nobody. I mean, we're trying to educate you. The guy, listen to some of the stuff that the Godfather, the way he breaks it down. And, it just makes sense, guys. Listen, I don't know about you two, but I've had enough today. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna go upstairs, have a little something to eat, do a little power nap,
There you go.
and then wake up, talk to some guys. I'm laying low tonight. I ain't touching the game tonight. I don't know if what's going on in headquarters over there in Philadelphia.
I'm actually going to go look at a 78 Smoking the Bandit Trans Am.
Oh,
It's
cool.
going up in New York. I got like a 5-hour ride.
Dude, that's
I'm going
sick.
to stay the night, go check it out tomorrow, take it out for a drive, and if I like it, I just want to thank the bookmakers one more time for another classic car in the garage.
Dude,
Fuck
that
yeah.
was a sick car. The 78 Trans Am, did you say? Or
6.6, yeah.
Dude, they
Man,
were-
it's
the smoke-
sweet. It's all
smoke-
black. It's got the T-tops.
Ah, nice.
I mean, it's something special,
Does
man.
it
I'm going to go
have
check
the,
it out. Hopefully it runs strong. The transmission's strong. And I bring it back, and I just want to thank all the bookmakers in the tri-state area for hooking
yeah.
me up.
Hey,
That's
listen, Smokey and the Bandit style, that was a badass car. Smokey and the Bandit, when Burt Reynolds drove that, and Sally Fields. And,
Powerful mustache.
Yeah, that. You know what? I remember one of my first cars was a Trans Am. It was an 85 Trans Am. It looked like the kit car from the Black
Was it
Knight.
the IROC or the Trans
No,
Am?
I had the Trans Am. My buddies had the IROC. I had a black-on-black Trans Am. It was sick. It was really. And
I had an 82 Z28,
They
black on black with the Alpine system. You remember the Alpine
Pioneer,
stereo?
Alpine,
Yeah.
yeah, they were nice.
Oh,
You know,
God. But anyway, let me get out
Yeah,
here, Dan.
brother.
Yo, Andy, I love you,
son.
brother. Danny, you're the best in
You
the
guys are
world.
the best.
Thanks,
And hopefully
guys.
we can keep kicking some fucking
We will,
ass and get money, yo, man.
Yeah,
I'll talk
son.
to you guys later.
We'll talk to you
go
soon.
go get yours, buddy. Thanks, pal. Well, guys,
Powerful show
yeah,
today,
it was
huh?
good, man. It was good, man. I was a little sluggish. I hope everybody, Andy, you picked up a lot of weight today. Thank you. You did good.
I'm
You
gonna do
sounded
my
good.
best.
You do good, Andy, and I'm proud of you. I'm glad that you're part of the team here and your ventures in January and February and wherever it takes you. I know you're onto something, and I wish nothing but good things for you. You're young.
My man, thank you.
You're a gentleman, and you bring a lot of knowledge, too. And I would just want to thank you for stepping up today and
Appreciate
just
it.
thank you for everything. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. the supporters, the guys that send out some positive stuff, and we're just trying to entertain you, keep it real, and I hope you liked the show today. And until Monday, guys, and have yourself a great weekend. Be safe. If you need any help, we're right here, a phone call away. DannyBWins.com. Go to my site, send me an email, what have you. So until Monday, make it a good one, guys. I'm out.